Welcome to the Penny Z Show, where you get to learn how real people overcame real issues. Get ready to take notes and, most importantly, take action. Here's your host, Penny Z.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Penny Z Show. This is Penny Zellenkoff, Penny Z, and we are here today with the Penny Z Show. We are transforming lives one life at a time with real, relevant, and relatable topics. As many of you know who've been listening to this series, we are in a series called Overcoming I'm Not Enough. We all have that feeling at some point in time, whether it's just for a moment, for a season, or for many years in our life. And I know all of our listeners have heard about my story and how it took me way too many decades to get over my I'm not enough story. But now that I'm empowered, I'm helping you to be empowered. Our guest today is Megan Tull. She is an entrepreneur, a CEO, and the founder of Silver Linings Concepts LLC. She is also a bestseller of a fantastic book, Passion Belief Method, which I'd love to hear more about when we talk to her today. But before we get into that, I would like Megan to introduce herself and share her little bit, start sharing her story, her backstory about I'm Not Enough. Megan, welcome.
Thank you so much, Penny, for letting me share today with your wonderful audience. Yeah, so I do believe also that many of us have that not enough story. And I've experienced it a few times in my life, but asking me that today, the thing that comes up for me the strongest in terms of where I think it had the biggest impact in my life is a time of my life when I actually had a lot of successes in my career. I was an entrepreneur for 25 years, had 7 different businesses, and even with, that level of success, you can still experience that. So for me, I think it was about age 35 or so, it really hit hard in really recognizing this when I was at a time of my life where I was struggling. It felt like everything was such a challenge. It felt like I was pushing that metaphoric rock up a hill. And, normally I'm just super confident. I'm capable and I'm strong and I persevere and I can just push through, right, to reach the goal. But this is a time where I felt like, oh my gosh, why is it so hard? And I'm exhausted. And so at the time I was in a very unhealthy relationship. And I went from having all the things that everybody strives to get, the fancy car, the fancy house. I had a new car to pull my brand new boat. I traveled all over the country, did all these things, right? But that definitely does not define success, because I was at a place where I was doing things that I felt like I needed to do to survive or get by or get the things that I thought I wanted. But that was not sustainable. And what happened was being in that unhealthy relationship, not really being in alignment with what I truly wanted versus, doing the things I felt like I needed to do. That's, when everything just started falling apart and crumbling around me. So yeah, the big realization was, Megan, why are you doing what you feel like you need to do? Like following all these gurus that were, successful. I was like, oh, if they're doing it this way and they're successful doing it that way, I'm going to do it as well, just like that. And, if they're successful, I can be successful, kind of thing. And that is actually so disempowering. And I have to tell you now, at the time, I thought that it was cool and that's what I should have been doing. But when you are following someone else's way of doing things, it doesn't necessarily mean it's your way of doing things. And you're not able to celebrate your uniqueness and what makes you so special. So I was just kind of hiding behind, my company and not really stepping out and being myself and really celebrating what I was bringing to the table. So for me, it was really coming to that realization of like, what do you truly want in your life? Obviously, you're not happy in your relationship. You're not happy with your business. You're not getting consistent results because of the unhealthy relationship that I found myself in. because I didn't feel like I was worthy of someone that was my equal or more. I found myself in a place where I almost lost everything that I owned, going from having all that stuff to practically losing everything. So that was kind of my rock bottom, Penny, when I was like, oh my gosh, this is not working. What do you want? Like, what do you want to create for yourself? So first of all, it was getting rid of the fiance, the unhealthy relationship. And then secondly, it was really taking some time to do that deeper reflection on what it was that I truly wanted and doing that inner work. And that's when things started to shift and pivot.
And that's not easy to do. It's not always easy to identify and then to accept. I went through a similar, situation where, I was married. The marriage wasn't working out vision-wise, life goal-wise. We weren't going the same path. I'd like to say we were single in a married relationship and living in even different states at the time. And so we decided to move on to our separate ways and let each other evolve into the life that they chose, good, bad, and different. Yeah. How did you recognize that for yourself? Was there anything that came to mind when you were down, figuring out I need to change this relationship, which is not easy to make that choice, because society has a lot of pressure around either being married or in a relationship. How did you kind of go through that? Was there anything in particular that you worked on or that identified in your life so that our listeners who might be in your same spot could consider doing?
For me, though, honestly, it was just like, it was a God moment. I woke up in the morning and God told me today is the day that you're supposed to break up with him. So I'm like, okay, it was really just that matter of fact, and I did it. But the problem was he didn't accept it. And for 3 months, kind of like taunting me, and I can't believe you're breaking up with me. And when you work from home, you have to be able to be focused. And when you have your own business and you're a solo entrepreneur, which I was at the time, like if you're not taking action and if you're not doing your income producing activities, you're not making any money. And so for 3 months of kind of being taunted by this individual that would not, move out, that's kind of when everything went to, hell in a handbasket, let's just put it that way. So that's when I was really getting clear on what I wanted. Mm-hmm. And just, I think being in that low space and realizing I don't want this life. I don't want to be unhappy. What do I want personally and professionally? So that inner work that I did, Penny, was a combination of really taking a look at, like, based on everything that I've done in my life, how do I feel like I can best be of service to other people? What am I most passionate about? What are my gifts and my talents? And how can I use those in a way that are not only fulfilling, but are going to really make the biggest impact? And for me, at the time I didn't know this verbiage, but now looking back, it's like, it's all about being in alignment. Being in alignment with your true self, being in alignment with your passion and your values as a person, knowing what your core values are. For me, I know now it's, integrity is my number one. And I was not living in integrity, being with somebody that I didn't respect, somebody that I didn't believe was a good fit for me. Mm-hmm. So, really getting clear on the things that are most important to you and really making that decision to make the necessary changes, right? And knowing that we can decide what we want our future to look like. And we can actually create a future that really is in alignment with all the things that we want, ultimately being able to live our purpose. So that's kind of the steps that I took, and the realization that I had was, getting into alignment with all of those things. And, I think so many of us lose that passion, especially women. We're like givers and we're always doing for everybody else. I was a single mom at the time. and then being in this relationship and just being a giver. I mean, as a coach, naturally, we want to help and support and give to people. But, there comes a time where you have to really do things for yourself and love yourself and recognize what you're passionate about, and making sure you're living a life that's in alignment with that.
Absolutely. And I've experienced a similar kind of process over the last several years myself, and, going through the separation, then obviously the divorce, and figuring out where do I fit in this world. A couple of things come to mind as you were talking, so I'll share them and then I'll ask you, kind of your thoughts on it. First off, getting clear for me when you were talking about that was talking about visioning, and whether it's a vision board or whether it's having a personal life statement. And so I'd like to kind of expand on that. But before that, I just want to say, when you were talking, about losing yourself and trying to figure out a purpose, or because we're givers, there's an interesting country western song that's just come on the radio. It's new, and it's entitled "I Miss Me More." And it's a great empowering song, but I just remembered it when you were talking about it, how, it talked about how we lose ourselves in the relationship, and we didn't realize we had dreams. We didn't realize we had goals, and it's a breakup, and it's like, well, I don't miss you as much as I miss me, and so it's getting ourselves back. So share with us a little bit. I'm going to go back and share a little bit about when you were talking about getting clear, visioning. What did you do during that process? What were some of the things that you worked on?
So for me personally, it was really taking that time to understand what my unique value was. And I think now in the work that I do, working with thousands of business owners through my coaching practice, this is actually the number one challenge that most individuals face, which is not truly understanding the value that they bring. So they don't have the confidence to present themselves in a powerful way, or really they're not surrounding themselves with people that they should be surrounding themselves with, is another piece of that. But then they're not able to ask for what they want, or ask for what they're worth, or charge what they're worth if you have your own business. So for me, at the time, and it's easy for me to say now because it's a formula that I've created that now I teach my clients, but at the time, for me, again, understanding what my unique value was. So I kind of assessed, what my God-given gifts and talents were. What was it that I learned through all of the education that I had to date? What was it that I learned through all of my experiences? I had been through a lot of adversity in my life. I was married to an alcoholic, became a widow at age 30, single mom after that for 9.5 years. And then, financials ups and downs, and unhealthy relationship after that. So I had my fair share of adversity, but I was able to start looking at that as, okay, what did I learn through those challenging times? What can I help others with now that I've gone through that? Also, what are the skill sets I've developed over the years? What are the characteristics that I have that are beneficial or helpful for other people? What is my values, my core beliefs that I have? So understanding all of that, which I call our unique value, I think is so important. That's key. And when you own your value, that's when you will earn your worth. And I'm not just talking financially. I'm talking about living a wealthy life in every aspect, making sure that you are with the right person, somebody who loves you and honors you and respects you. Making sure, number one, that you love yourself, right? Mm-hmm. And you respect yourself, because if you don't love yourself, nobody else is going to. But then also, when you understand the value that you offer, then you have the confidence to present yourself powerfully, and you're not giving your time, gifts, and talents away like you probably did before, and you're going to honor and respect your value, and making sure that you get paid generously for that. So, that was kind of the big pivot that really allowed me to kind of transform the way that I kind of viewed things, and was able to redesign my business as it looks today.
Well, congratulations, and obviously thank you for sharing some of that. You know, it's interesting because I've read your book, and your book has a lot of great wisdom, a lot of great tools, and I'm sure partnering your book with, you know, your coaching, your business coaching and your personal coaching has not only helped you develop, but also has helped other people. And there was just one piece that there was many pieces that I highlighted, but there was one that kind of, when you were talking just a few minutes ago, kind of brought me back, and it says, "It is important to always expand your possibilities, since possibilities create opportunities." And that just gives me chills when you know, I read that based on what you're sharing with us today. So
Thank you for sharing that. It's so true. I think we can live in a life of, you know, being a victim of our circumstance and saying, well, if I only had, you know, more money, if I only had a different set of circumstances, you know, blaming everybody else and not taking that responsibility. The truth of the matter is we are responsible for our own actions and our own results. But the brilliant part of that is we're also responsible for our future. And we get to decide the life that we get to create for ourselves, and nobody can take that away from you. So talking about possibilities, I mean, I think it's super important for you, once you understand what value you have to offer, then, you know, getting really clear, you're talking about a vision board, getting crystal clear on what you want to create. And then, you know, the visualization part of that is huge, where you can visualize what's possible, visualize yourself already at your ideal outcome, right? And when you believe that that's possible for yourself, that's when opportunities will show up to support you and your goals, right? So I think it's so important to not only understand your value, but get really clear on what you want, and then trust that it's going to happen. And yes, it has to be a little bit more about believing. You actually have to take action steps towards your goal to make it happen and come to fruition. But, you know, understanding that if we're doing our part and we're trusting that we're going to get there, God or the universe, you know, is going to take care of the rest. And that's the brilliant part of it. But those opportunities, you know, for, you know, either the people that are meant to support you in your goals, or maybe it's clients that you're wanting, or money, or whatever it is, those opportunities will show up when you are in alignment with what you truly want, and you are believing in yourself and what you want to create, and you're taking action.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely believe in the no victim mentality. You know, you are responsible for your choices in your life. And the beauty is that we may not be able to change our past, but we definitely can learn and grow. So we don't want to dwell in it, but we want to be able to look back to see how can we utilize you know, what it is that we've learned and the lessons that we've learned to be able to move forward and to be a better person, to have a better life, to, you know, have better relationships. Absolutely. That's fantastic. So I loved what you said when it came to your faith. And I just wanted to share with you, I had a similar experience many years ago when I had a dream, and I was in a bad situation as well. And it was an interesting dream that when I woke up, I knew exactly what I needed to do. And, you know, it's one of those things, we haven't really talked a lot about faith, you know, on the show, but I definitely believe that the stronger that you are, that you believe in faith, and you trust in the Lord, that he definitely brings you through that. And the other thing that I absolutely love what you said was, visioning and manifesting. I believe in manifestation. It has happened over and over and over in my life, especially since I've made this mindset shift, you know, over the last couple of years. So do you have anything else that you'd like to share about either one of those topics with our listeners?
Oh, yes. Okay. So I know everybody has their own set of beliefs, but it really is just about believing in a power bigger than yourself, right? Because if you just believe in yourself, it can be so overwhelming. You're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. But when you have faith in something bigger than you, and then you start taking action towards your goals, and you can start trusting that, okay, I'm doing my part, and just trust that everything's going to be taken care of. And, if that's hard for you to believe, I want you to go back in your life and look at the times of your life that in the moment you were like, oh my gosh, everything's falling apart. There's no way I'm going to be able to get through this. And I want you to reflect back and see how I'm pretty sure you got through it. You probably got through it much more stronger and confident on the other side. So there's been much evidence in all of our lives that prove that if we believe and we keep moving forward, we keep doing our part, everything's going to work itself out. But I love setting goals, and I love, the idea of setting goals. But I also like to teach people that, it's important to have a goal, but at the same time, we don't know what we don't know. We are, our mind and what we can imagine is often limited to our experiences. So sometimes, we can limit ourselves and put like kind of a glass ceiling because we don't really know what's possible. So I'm going to ask you, when you set your goals, to, work towards those goals, but also be open to the possibility of something bigger or greater, because that is when the real magic happens. When you don't limit yourself and you're open. So for me, it's about being super intentional each and every day, Penny, and really waking up in the morning in gratitude. That's the first thing I do, is I think about, what am I grateful for? What am I blessed with? And for me, it's my family, it's my friends, it's my health, it's my faith, and it's the fact that I get to do what I love to do each and every day, by supporting women entrepreneurs and turning their passion into a profitable business, and just really being able to be of service with others with my gift and living my purpose. So those are the things that I'm grateful for. I'm going to ask you each and every morning to start your day thinking about what you're grateful for, because that will quiet your mind. Often we wake up and we're like, I got to do all this stuff today. And all the things that you have to do are running through your mind, and then you kind of attack the day, versus taking time to really get into that peaceful state, and then start thinking about, okay, what do I want to create for myself today? And I always kind of role play like what I have on the calendar, what I'm going to be doing. And I visualize like, what is my ideal outcome for each of those things that I have to do. And I set my intentions of what kind of outcome I'd like to see happen. And it's amazing when you take just a few minutes to do that, how smoothly your day goes and how you can start attracting amazing opportunities into your life. And I'm not saying everything's always going to be, perfect all the time, but I guarantee it's going to be a lot more positive than if you start your day just by, waking up and jumping out of bed and reacting to your day, versus being proactive and being intentional and on purpose with your day.
I couldn't agree anymore. I do start my day with gratitude of being alive, and those that I know and love are alive with me that day. And I start off with meditation, and I could not agree with you anymore that when I don't have that morning grounding, even if it's 4 or 5 or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever, someone is able to do in their world, it has just a little bit of kind of off kilter for my day. So I agree with you. And that actually, we're going to incorporate that into our weekly challenge, Megan, that we're going to challenge our listeners to start waking up every morning with gratitude, because every week we do a challenge for our listeners. So this week will be the gratitude challenge, whether it's waking up every day and being grateful and just knowing that in your mind, or maybe writing it down. I'm just going to encourage people there. One of the things you said is finding your your passion and finding your purpose. And I have a short message that I usually tell when I'm talking with people, and we'll kind of end here, and Megan will be able to tell us a little bit more about her business and her passion and how you can get a hold of us. But I always say your mess, because we all have messes, your mess is your message. Your message is your story. Your story is your passion, and your passion is your purpose. So share with us, Megan, how the listeners and people can reach out to you, what it is that you offer, how you can help the listeners, how they can get a hold of you. Just share with our listeners more about your business, you, and your contact information.
I would love to. Thank you. So my passion is to help women entrepreneurs that are maybe struggling to get the results they desire in their business, or they are not quite feeling fulfilled in the work that they're doing, to redesign their business to reflect their true self, their unique value, their brilliance, so they can authentically attract their ideal clients, and go from that struggle to ease, flow, and grace, and start making more money and having way more fun in their business. So that's what I love to do. I'm able to do that in a number of different ways. I offer many different programs for my clients, from some face-to-face to some online programs as well. One of my absolute favorite things I get to do is a women's retreat for women entrepreneurs called Shift Into Your Power. And it's a transformational retreat that allows women to step into the best version of themselves, how they can use their gifts in the most powerful way to make the biggest impact. So I have my next one coming up in April, April 4th through 6th. So if anyone's interested in that, happy to share more. But yeah, you can connect with me at support@megantull.com. My website is megantull.com. I have a number of ways that I like to connect with my clients. I just absolutely love supporting and surrounding myself with other like-minded women entrepreneurs, women that are really wanting to make a difference in this world by sharing their gifts.
Absolutely. And Megan, you have a free gift that you'd like to offer our listeners as well, with them connecting with you. So please share that with our listeners.
Yes. So Penny had talked about my book, The Passion Belief Method, Own Your Value and Earn Your Worth in Business. So kind of an extension to the book, or like an add-on to the book, we created an assessment. And this assessment allows you to determine what your passion belief factor is, where you stand when it comes to your self-worth, your value, your relationship with money, and the level of passion in your life, career, or business. So it just takes a few minutes to take this assessment or quiz, and you're going to learn so much about yourself. You're going to either be a self-saboteur, a striver, or a passionista. So we all want to be a passionista, but there are some steps. If you're not quite there, if you're a self-saboteur or a striver, you're going to get steps that are going to help you get to that passionista level, so you can start living your passion and your purpose. So I hope you take advantage of that. The link is pbmassessment.com, and the access code is PBMRocks. But I believe we're going to be including the link and the access code in the information, right, with this recording. So
yes, absolutely. As we always do on the pennyzshow.com website, we will have all of Megan's contact information, her website. We will have the link and the code for her free offer to our listeners. And as we get ready to wrap up yet another great episode of the Penny Z Show, is there anything else, words of wisdom or anything you'd like to share and leave our audience with, Megan?
Yes. So my words of wisdom are: trust yourself, believe in yourself, know that what you have to offer is enough. It's more than enough. And you want to celebrate your uniqueness. God has made you unique, and we want to be able to celebrate that. That's when you're going to be able to be the most fulfilled in your life, when you're living your passion, sharing your gifts, and you're going to be able to make the biggest impact. So I want to encourage you to be courageous, take inspired action, and go out there and share your gifts with the world.
Again, our guest, Megan Tull, thank you so much for being on the Penny Z Show. We are so excited. All of our listeners go to www.thepennyzshow.com. Like us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and we will have all of Megan's information so you can follow up with her. Thank you again, everyone, and have a great day.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much for listening. If you want to hear more, including specific ways to empower yourself, go to thepennyzshow.com.